Good morning, everyone. We're about to start the press conference. Please take your seats. Thank you.
Guten Tag. Buongiorno.
Good morning.
Non ancora. E buongiorno di nuovo, guten Tag, herzlich
Good morning
willkommen.
once
Es
again.
freut mich sehr,
Welcome.
dass
I'm
Sie alle
very
hier
happy
sind. Und es freut mich
for
sehr, dass ich heute mit
you
Ihnen
all
hier
to be
im
here.
LUMA
I'm
Westbau
very happy to be
sein
here at
darf.
the LUMA
Es freut mich
Westbau.
dann natürlich auch riesig, in der Piazza auf der Bühne zu sein, weil da werde ich dann auch die Filme präsentieren, nicht alleine
It's
natürlich.
also going to be a pleasure for me
Wir
to be on the
haben
piazza presenting the
jetzt
films, but
in der
not just by
nächsten Stunde
myself.
die Möglichkeit, das Programm
Over the
der
next
neuen
hour,
Auflage des Locarno
we
Film
will
Festivals
go
zu
through the
entdecken.
program
Wir haben auch
of
die
this edition
Deutschsprache
of the Locarno Film Festival.
ausgewählt, da die Mehrheit
We've
von euch
chosen German
deutschsprachig
today
ist.
because
But I would
most
like
of
to
you are
welcome
German
and thank
speakers.
everybody who's watching online and remind you, probably you noticed already that the whole press conference is going to be translated in English. E un caloroso benvenuto anche a tutti voi che state
And
guardando da
a very
chissà
warm
dove
welcome
in
to
streaming.
all of
La
you
conferenza
who
stampa
are
sarà tradotta
watching
tutta in
in
italiano, la
streaming.
facciamo in tedesco
The
perché la
press
maggior parte dei
conference
giornalisti
will
presenti in
be
sala
interpreted
parlano
into
tedesco.
Italian. We're doing it in
E a
German
questo
because
proposito
most of the journalists here
würde
speak
ich
German.
gerne Jonathan und
And
Laura danken, die
I
die
would
ganzen
like to
Übersetzungen
thank
online machen
Jonathan
werden
and Laura,
auf Englisch
who are
und auf
providing the
Italienisch.
interpretation today in English
Dann
and
darf ich
Italian.
jetzt schon mal anfangen und
Now,
ich
I will
darf
begin,
unsere neue Präsidentin
and I would
vorstellen,
like to
Kunstexpertin,
introduce our new
Produzentin,
president,
aber noch vieles
art
mehr.
expert,
Wir haben sie schon ein
producer,
bisschen
but a lot
kennengelernt
more.
und wir werden sie
We've
sicher
already got to know
ein
each
bisschen
other
mehr
a bit,
kennenlernen. Also
and we will
danke
no doubt
vielmals,
get
dass
to
Sie
know
da
her
sind.
better.
Maja Hoffmann.
Now, thank you, Maja Hoffmann, for being here.
Ja, guten Morgen.
Good morning.
Mich hat man gefragt, auf Englisch zu reden for the
I
streaming.
was asked to speak
So I hope this is
in English
okay
for
with
streaming
everyone
purposes.
here. Thank you for your warm welcome. Thank you. And also thank you. I would also like to welcome you at, like you said, the LUMA Westbau. And if I stress it now, it's because we are having an exhibition of Agnes Varda from the archive of Hans-Ulrich Obrist that is deposited at LUMA in Arles. And I feel this is really a very good omen to speak and to see this work. If you have time later, maybe you can look at it for the one who are present here. Agnes Varda has always been a very big inspiration for us. So where I'm trying to touch base and find a way to speak with you for the first time because I find it important. I'm very excited with the program that Giona will explain to us in detail. I only had every day I receive some messages from Giona, and this is really a very good way of getting up to date with what's going on. But I didn't hear any of the details, so that's really what's exciting me. And the world of cinema is changing, and so we need to embrace it. And I consider my role is to embrace this world of cinema in change, and so little by little we will also be able to continue to put the cinematographers, the filmmakers in the center of what we do in Locarno. This is why I accepted this job. This is what I want to push. Yes, Locarno is an experience. The city by itself, the town, is as important as the variety of the program. I don't know if this works because I hear an echo. Yeah. And so I look forward very much to come there again after 15 years of absence and really relive what the vibe of the town is at the same time this summer. So I'm very happy that I was able to come and be there. And I hope that many of you from the press will be there too. I know you will, but also that many of the filmmakers and the program is so diverse, and it's based on this laboratory that we've been discussing. I hope I can establish bridges between the art and the cinema. Artists want to make movies right now. This is one of the reasons that motivated me to join the Locarno team. The team is brilliant. They have a lot of imaginations, 30 ideas a second. and it's exhausting, but it is really very uplifting too at the same time. Any questions? You said you may feel like asking questions.
Why not? We are here for that. So, yes, I would like to know, as president, first time in Locarno, are you going to have a different kind of look on the festival? How is your look going to be?
No, I think the vision of the festival is in a very good place. I think that with the changes within other festivals and within what movie and movie making can give to us, we are in an extremely good position. First, we have the stability, but we also have the desire to go forward and to write new narratives. Giona will get into the details for this, and I'm really, because from what I heard yesterday, it's really amazing to see the quantity of people who want to be shown in Locarno. And this is really very interesting because it's not only industry prone or big studio prone, it is really a celebration of independent cinema in all its variety. This is really what I would like to stress and to continue. Then we have also been talking with newcomers in terms of maybe sponsorship or partnership. And I'm very excited to say that we were able at the same time to keep the supporters that we know and that Raphael will speak about them. But we also were able to bring in some newcomers, and the discussions are going very well. So from my feeling, we are in a good place. I am the new one who needs to touch base, and I'm observing what's going on as well in the world and internationally, then within the festival. I hope that you will be nice with me and that we can continue to do this good work. I think that's good, yeah?
Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you. We do have a good feeling, I think. So, als nächstes freue ich mich jetzt, gehen wir ein bisschen mehr in das detaillierte Programm. Also freue ich mich, unser künstlerischer Leiter auf die Bühne zu fragen, zu holen. Giona, Nazzaro, eccoti qua.
And now we will hear from Giona Nazzaro. We'll take questions and answers afterwards. Good morning, Sandy. This is not our first language, so please excuse us if we make a few mistakes. Let's go and have a seat. So, Giona, let's start with the overall objective. What is the festival? And what are you trying to get out of the festival? Well, of course, it's a very broad question. And I'll try and give you a few keywords by way of an answer. The festival in Locarno doesn't just last 11 days, it lasts 365 days. So once the last film has been shown in Locarno, the Locarno Film Festival begins in the rest of the world. The last edition of the festival was extremely successful. You can see on the slides some of the festivals where our films have been shown, discussed, and won awards. And that's just a small snapshot from different festivals. For example, one of the films from the last competition, Sweet Dreams, just last week featured on the top 10 list of Variety, and Sophia Sakou, Animal, that won a prize from the Greek branch. So this highlights the success of the festival. That's what we're trying to promote. The selection has been difficult. You work for 365 days on this, and there are many recurrent issues. And I think this has come up again this year. Well, it happened indirectly, as it were. We didn't focus on a specific theme or a guiding thread when selecting the films. Once we had the selection, then we took a step back. We zoomed zoomed out, and we looked at the overall landscape, and we saw that certain subjects keep coming up across the different sections. For example, the role of women in contemporary society, the whole discussion around artificial intelligence, discussions about the political borders in this new Europe, this multipolar world, etc. We didn't seek out these themes. We didn't say, okay, well, now we're going to have a festival focusing on certain themes. We looked at the films, then put them together and realized that they hold a dialogue with each other. And these are also subjects, which means that the festival is a catalyst for major dialogue, intensive exchanges. That is what motivates us mostly. For 11 days, Locarno is the center of the world, and I'm very proud about that. And those working with me are very proud of that. It's a small town in the south of Switzerland. It is the focus of the world. And the places that we reach out to, thanks to our work, extend across the world. It's not just a film festival. Locarno is values. It's a worldview, a position in our societies. That's what we're working on every day. And we think that you can't have a festival without values. We stand for independent films. We stand for artists and for a world which is open for everyone, without borders and without differences. Before we go into the details of the different sections, can we have a few names? The main competition has filmmakers like Wang Bing, Hong Song-soo, Ben Rivers, and for Switzerland, the Sucher brothers, the Spatz im Kamin, and then Alain Den Slim, one of the most clever filmmakers today, and then the Radio Jude experimental film, etc. But we'll talk about those details a bit later. So, a lot of people in Switzerland. You mentioned Switzerland too. Is there a lot of Switzerland? Yes, we're convinced that filmmaking is going through a very interesting time now. That has been the case for some years in Switzerland. We'll have a lot more at Piazza Grande. We'll come back to that later. We have films in the main competition, in the short film section, and others. So it's a small Swiss landscape in this international landscape, speaking the same language. That's the interesting thing. And there is really a dialogue, and we're very excited about this, bringing all this together. You were saying that the films travel out from Little Locarno across the world, and we have lovely examples from recent years. Yes, for example, the success of the last edition, we featured in over 250 festivals, and our films were nominated for the Oscars, for the European Film Awards, and last year in Berlin, at the European Film Awards, we won the prize for the best short film. We're really a major component of today's film festival landscape and contemporary filmmaking. At the beginning, you talked about certain themes, such as recognition of women, equality between men and women. What's the situation in this edition? We have some figures. Maybe we can look at what this looks like this year. Well, the slide shows the numbers of the films that we received. I'm not going to read this, but this slide is particularly interesting because, unfortunately, the films which were submitted, well, not many of them were made by women, if we compare this to men. Although we didn't go in with the specific quotas. But in the main competition, we have 41.2% of women filmmakers, and filmmakers at the present, 46.7%. So out of 17 films in the main competition, 7 are made by women, and in filmmakers at the present, 7 out of 15 are women directors. It's not, however, that we looked at the films according to whether they were made by men or women and discussing them accordingly. It's the films that we really wanted to select. I think it's interesting today that some of the best films, and last year some of the films which were most successful were films that were directed by women. And also, with regard to last year, the Locarno Film Festival was the only festival where 5 films out of 7 nominations were made by women. If you agree, I would like to move to the international competition. 17 films, many world premieres, and also well-established directors. Yes, I'm very happy to start with this. The established directors are very much anticipated. Alaeddin Slim, the new film Agora, metaphysical science fiction political thriller. It sounds a bit complicated, but the film is fantastic. Then we have the new film from Ben Rivers, Bogenlock. It was very interesting because we had a constant exchange back and forth with Maja when we were deciding about Ben Rivers, and we really wanted to have a film from Ben Rivers. And from several sides, we worked on Ben, and we're really happy about that because we've got Bogenlock with us in Locarno. The Spatzenkamin I already mentioned. Then we've got Germany with Christoph Hochhäusler, a filmmaker who's at home in Locarno with his new film La Mort Viendra. Then an Italian film from Silvia Luzzi, Luca Bellino. The filmmakers from El Cratere, they were presented in Venice at the Critics Week, and then in different festivals in Tokyo won an award. That's the new film from those 2. Then we have a great film. It's very long, so it just feels like 20 minutes though, made by Wang Bing, Youth Hard Times. It's the second part of the trilogy about young people in the so-called sweatshops in China. Then the new film from Hong Sang-soo, By the Stream. One of the filmmakers who's also at home in Locarno. And he'll be coming back to Locarno with his new film. Then the new film from Pierre Marais, Trans-Amazonia. If we look further now, we have some much anticipated works. A new film from Virgile Vernier. Yesterday afternoon, we were told that the production want to write the title in figures. It's 100,000 billions. It's going to be with 14 zeros. It's probably going to be the longest title out. Then the new film from Kudwin Ayub. And the new film from Marcol, Salve Maria, Drowning Dry, from Laurinas Pareja. The filmmaker won a prize in Venice, a world showing in Locarno. Then from Gülşen Keltek, New Dawn Fades. It's a metaphysical ghost film about contemporary Turkey. I won't tell you more about that. No spoilers. The interesting and important thing in a festival is that new names are also discovered. And in this category, if we can call it that, I'd like to thank the selection committee for this because it's worked over a whole year. Really hard, worked really hard. The new names in the Locarno competition, they're all newcomers, as we say, women, all women. New film from Sala Bluvaita from Lithuania, Fogo da Vento from Marta Mateusz. Petrkus Fabrice was the producer. Green Line, Sylvie Bayot from Lebanon. And then Sulla Terra Leggeri, Weightless, by Sara Ifgaya from Italy. 4 new names, new filmmakers, and I'm convinced that in the near future we'll be hearing a lot from them. They're all women, right? All those filmmakers, yes. Filmmakers of the present. We've got 15 films. Competition for first or second films from directors around the world. Geographically, what does it look like? Well, it was very interesting. From Eastern Europe, some very interesting things came up. We've got Crickets, It's Your Turn, from Olga Korotko, Kazakhstan, Lesson Learned from Hungary, Balint Shemla, Holy Electricity, Tato Kotishvili from Georgia, Joktau from Arwan Anatai, also from Kazakhstan, and When the Phone Rang, Iva Radivojevic from Serbia. I don't know if it's always the case, but there seem to be a lot of young actors, children too. Very interesting. A lot of young filmmakers are making films of this kind. These are probably the most exciting. Stig Danis has said a film is like a postcard from a friend. They say, I'm here, I'm doing well, how are you? These films are like postcards which have been sent to us. And for me, and for the selection committee, we really tried to keep our eyes as open as possible. The world is not just Europe or Northern Europe. The world has many places where so many interesting things are happening, sometimes very dramatic things. We just want to be there in this conversation, which we can maybe tell through the eyes of children. Let's move on to Latin America. Latin America has 2 very special films. Monaco Collective is an essayist, a documentary film, but also a comedy. It sounds a bit special, I know, but trust me, that's how it is. Then Olivia and the Clouds, that's an animated film where a woman transforms it into a plant. This comes from the Dominican Republic. Then we also have 3 films from Africa. From Cabo Verde, Hanami, Denise Fernandez. And Listen to the Voices from French Guyana. Côte d'Ivoire, Maxime Jean-Baptiste, Les Enfants Rouges, L'autre fille Ashur from Tunisia. Some more young actors there. Now, the Western world. The first film from Willy Hans, who had his debut at Pardi di Domani, and now first long film, Fario Lucy Prost, Foul Evil Deeds, United Kingdom, Richard Hunter. It's a very black comedy, but incredibly funny. If you have a taste for black humor, you mentioned Courtney Stevens from the United States. And finally, an essayist documentary film about artificial intelligence, the internet, Real from Adela Touli. So that was that. Now let's move on to Piazza Grande, the most beautiful theater in the world. Every film is an experience. We'll be on the stage there together. And we have a lot of Switzerland and films from around the world. We're particularly happy about this. The new film from Simon Jacquemet, Electric Child, a world premiere on the Piazza. It's a science fiction film. And it deals with artificial intelligence once again, but not only that, it's a thriller. And you could say, what would a father do to save his son? It's a very exciting film. It takes place in Zurich and around, but I'm convinced it's going to be difficult to recognize Zurich in it. It's a very special kind of Zurich. Then Le Procès du Chien, Laetitia Doche. This had its world premiere in Cannes. This is our concluding film. Reinas from Claudia Reinecke. Shown in Sundance. Then Sauvage, Claude Barras, or our Locarno Kids Awards. We know that Locarno also has some glamour, some very interesting actors on the stage. At Piazza Grande, we'll have Berenice Bejo in Mexico, 86, and the first film from Paz Vega, Rita. This will be presented as a world premiere. These are stories where women play the main role, the experience of the world from the point of view of a woman or young women and children. Iran is back on the piazza. Mohammad Rasulov, a leading representative of contemporary Iranian film, a very courageous director as well. For us, it's very important, this film. The Seed of the Sacred Fig from Mohammad Rasulov. It's very important that we're able to show this on Piazza Grande. Mohammad Rasulov managed to get to Cannes at the last minute. The film was ready, but maybe he would have liked to have changed a few things. And that's the version that we'll be showing on Piazza Grande. There are no major changes, maybe 2 or 3 minutes less. It's cut a little bit shorter. But just to tell you how closely linked Mr. Rasulov is linked to this film and how much we want to show it on the piazza. I think it's really one of the most courageous films in recent years. And I hope that Locarno will embrace Mr. Rasulov the same way it embraced Ken Loach last year. The Seed of the Sacred Fig, a very serious story. Serious stories can be told in a serious way, but they can also be told in a less serious way. Yes, the science fiction comedy Alice Lowe, it's called Time Stalker. What would a woman do who is head over heels in love with a robber who is sentenced to death on a public square. And this woman tries to follow this man through decades and hundreds. It's a science fiction fantasy comedy. And now some world cinema. I would like to mention Maja again here because we were in Sundance together at Sundance, and we saw this film Gaucho Gaucho from Michael Dweck, Gregory Korshaw, and we said it's a perfect film for Piazza Grande, black and white, wonderful images. It was really a no-brainer. So we've got that film, and I think it's really an adventure film, a classical Western. It reminded me of the film of Boris Barnett. It was a wonderful discussion. I remember we were in Berlin and said, Maja, we've got the Gaucho Gaucho film. It's great. Then Shambhala from Min Bahadur Bam. This is an Open Door alumni. It's a program that we have in Locarno in cooperation with the Department for Development and Cooperation of the Swiss Department for Foreign Affairs. And it's one of the directors who has grown up in Locarno and is now shown throughout the world. So it highlights the results that we can obtain with open doors. We can admire that everywhere. The piazza with its wonderful huge screen, and it's going to be even more wonderful with these images. Then a bit later, Piazza Grande, we have more films. It was a film which was shown in South by Southwest. It's called So Torn. It's a thriller involving a little tailor in a small village in Switzerland who ends up in a situation with very dangerous people and can only they can defend themselves with their needle and the thread. Maybe you've told too much about it already. No. There's no spoiler here. And then we have The Fall from Tarsem. Tarsem is one of the most well-known video clip directors. I just want to mention one, Losing My Religion from REM, who's worked with many other artists. Just want to mention one, Lady Gaga. And The Fall is his favorite film. He's produced a new version, restored it, and this will be projected as a world premiere on Piazza Grande. And if you remember Tarsim's films, you can see what kind of thing is coming up. And also the classics. We have the 4K restoration of The Lady from Shanghai. That's a tribute for our Columbia retrospective. Then the 4K restoration of The Piano, Jane Campion, and a new 4K version of Une femme est une femme from Jean-Luc Godard. What do we have? No, I think we forgot something which is very important. Well, we left this for the end to make it more exciting. You didn't talk about the opening film. Drum roll. The opening film is Le Deluge, the second film from Gianluca Giudici from Italy. It features Guillaume Canet and Mélanie Laurent. It's about the last days of Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. We've seen the film and we said this is a wonderful contemporary film, although It deals with historical figures from some time ago. And the film convinced us so much that we said that Guillaume Canet and Mélanie Laurent would be awarded the Davide Campari Excellence Award. Wonderful, very happy about that, looking forward to it. We'll see other awards, so we'll go on with the program. Pardi di Domani, Leopards of the Future, films which are important for the national, international and short film competition. 41 films, we won't mention them all. It's the fourth year we've had auteur short films in a section. We have 10 new films. I won't mention all of them, but we've got the new film Denis Coté, Jour avant la mort de Niki, the new film from Caroline Poggi and Jonathan Vinel, La fille qui explose, a new film from Valentin Merz, a very significant Swiss filmmaker, Les Bouches, and the new film from Kevin Jerome Everson, Practice, 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 and the new film from Maja, Haj, Upshot. For the out of competition, a few highlights. Switzerland is also playing a major role here. 2 films expected. Yes, and out of competition, the new film from Samir has a very interesting title, La prodigiosa trasformazione della classe operaia in stranieri, the miraculous transformation of the working class into foreigners. It's a documentary, an essay documentary relating the story of foreign workers in Switzerland. And we have the new film from Marco Tullio Giordana, La vita accanto, The Life Apart. Marco Tullio Giordana is an Italian filmmaker whose story is very much linked to Locarno. And we have a special Pardo for that. Then 2 experimental films, Rado Giuda. Yes, last year, Do Not Expect Too Much from the End of the World was shown as a world premiere in Locarno. It was a huge success. And then a few weeks later, he called me and said, I have a few new films. Would you like to watch them? And I said, yes, of course. 8 postcards from Utopia, made with Christian Ferenc-Platz, a film about advertising in Romanian television, and Sleep Number 2, a tribute to Sleep from Andy Warhol. Families are always interesting. They have wonderful stories and often are told in films, and we have a very special one here, the new film from Isid Lebesco, a special artistic family. In the main competition, families are a focus, and it's interesting how you can relate family stories. La Famille Chérie is a new film from Isid Lebesco, and it has a lot of French stars in it. It's a collective story, and we thought it was very interesting. For example, the whole conversation in France and elsewhere, also in the United States, about family. It's a theme also in the so-called thriller, Free Worker from Aileen Clark. Family, woman, and traditional mythology are all in there. This is an essential press conference, just focusing on the key things. You probably noted. We don't want to tell you everything, just giving you some highlights. We'll continue with Histoire du Cinéma. A few highlights from here too. I just wanted to draw our colleagues from the press's attention to a few things. One of the highlights is the tribute to Stan Brakhage. He is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, experimental filmmaker. When we were in Los Angeles, together with Marcus Dufner, we met with people from the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures, and we saw that we shared this passion for Stan Brakhage. KJ Miller worked there, and we started working on this, and we presented this idea to Maja, and we said we could do this tribute to Stan Brakhage. It's going to be rather difficult. We can only show it on film, so it's a bit more complicated, but Maja said, yes, Stan Brakhage is an excellent director and artist, and it's very important to show his films. So we have this program of 10 films from Stan Brakhage. They're all being shown on 16 millimeter, and the curator is Erika Balsam. She's one of the greatest scholars and connoisseurs of the work of Stan Brakhage. We had close contact with Marilyn Brakhage, who prepared the new copies, and it's something we're really proud about at the Locarno Film Festival. I have a very special relationship with his works. I mean, that's not important. No, it is important. What do you like about Stan Brakhage? I didn't know his work. I was in Pesaro in Italy many years ago. There was a special program on Stan Brakhage. I'd never seen his films, and I went in, and I had one of my most wonderful film experiences. These colors changing on the screen, these film dreams, and then I thought it was just amazing, this program. And well, there weren't any emails at the time, but I was told, well, could you write a short letter about this? And I wrote a little letter to Mr. Brakhage and said, your films really moved me terribly. And a few months later, I got a huge original postcard saying, dear Giona, this is the magic we're trying to, etc. And I thought, wow, he really took the time to answer me. I was just a little nervous cinephile at the festival. And this experience with Stan Brakhage just spurred me on. And I'm really happy to be able to present his works to a new generation of filmmakers, particularly at a festival like Locarno. There are no digital copies of these films. You have to experience them on film in a theater. Passion, we love that. Thank you for that personal story. Retrospective. For Locarno, it's very important. Not all festivals have a retrospective. And since the 1950s in Locarno, it's well loved. And this year, it's the 100th anniversary of Columbia Pictures, The Lady with the Torch. Yes, we already indicated that. I just want to say that the entire retrospective has been produced in conjunction with Sony Pictures Entertainment, and from the archive of Columbia, which is at Sony now, we got access to that archive from so Grover Crisp and Rita Belder, and they have new restorations of films which have never been shown before. And the retrospective will be accompanied by a book from Esan Koshbat. That's the curator. It has essays from film historians like Imogen Sarah Smith, Chris Fujiwara, Pamela Hutchinson, Jonathan Rosenbaum, and many others. The book is published by Éditions de l'Œil. Again, it's a book which really will be part of the history of the festival. And there'll be more than 40 films shown. Open Doors screenings the last year for the focus on Latin America and the Caribbean with 17 films from countries where film is still developing. We already said that it's important to have this cooperation with the Department for Development and Cooperation from the Swiss Department for Foreign Affairs. And thanks to this program, we've discovered many filmmakers, and we've been fortunate enough and had the privilege to interact with other cultures and countries. As a festival, I think we've learned a lot more than we've been able to teach others. So conversation, dialogue is really a key part of our work. And thinking about the future, children or young people, films for an audience which would maybe like to see other films, the ones that adults see, We will have classics, but also some new films. Maybe you would like to mention just 3 from Locarno Kids screenings. I'll mention these. Raphael Brunschwig will talk later a bit more about our work for a younger audience, younger viewers. For us, it's extremely important, and we work very hard on this, very seriously. I think he's able to present this much better than I can. We have 3 world premieres for young viewers: Akiko, The Flying Monkey from Veit-Helmer, Block 5 from Clement Dvornik from Slovenia, and Blue Sky Joe from Patrice Sauvé from Canada. Then, of course, we shouldn't forget this. This is an important part of the festival. We've got Panorama Suisse, Swiss Panorama, and Semaine de la Critique, the Critiques Week. I see Till Brockman, the head of Semaine de la Critique, the best documentary film. Can I mention one film from your section? Simon Bauman's new film, Der Erben, a very interesting film, and I hope that all of you can discover this film. Simon had image problem, and this new film is a further reflection about Switzerland, fathers, sons, grandchildren. So that's all we wanted to say with regard to the categories for today. What we wanted to say about the films. You have your press kit, and of course there will be time for questions at the end of the press conference. But we're not quite through. We have the special awards, some very interesting guests. I just wanted to say something first. I don't want to try the patience of our guests, but now, at a time when we're talking a lot about artificial intelligence, the festival in Locarno is really focused on film. More than 40 films recorded on 5, 16 and 35 millimeters. We're really defending analog film, and the whole of the Piazza Grande part will be in 35 millimeters. We're a film festival in the digital film age. Awardees. Who should we start with? We already announced some. We'll start with Shah Rukh Khan. He's more than a star. He's maybe the greatest Indian actor who has ever existed, the biggest star worldwide. Then we have Jane Campion, who we already announced, Stacey Sher, producer of Tarantino, Steven Soderbergh. She'll receive the Rizzonico Award, then the Locarno Kids Award for Claude Barras. Now, the next slide. This gentleman with the glasses, maybe you don't recognize his face, but he produced the most famous sounds in the film world. He is alone responsible for Darth Vader's heavy breathing. He is the E.T. Phone Home guy, the laser swords, the lightsabers from Star Wars. He did all that. He got Oscars for Indiana Jones and E.T. and Ben Burt. We met with him together with Markus Dufner, and we thought, yeah, an honorary prize for Ben Burt, and we thought it's the first Vision Award for a sound engineer, a sound editor. So I think it's very important. And it's interesting to see that a man that has shaped the imagination of so many generations, that he has such a regular face. Nobody actually recognizes him. And then we have Irene Jacob, legendary actress of Krzysztof Kieslowski, and also the new film from Mehdi Pan, Amos Kitai. Guillaume Canet, Mélie Laurent, the stars of Le Déluge. The 77th Locarno Film Festival, 7th to the 17th of August, but before that, we'll be able to see something. We mentioned Ben Burt. There he is on Piazza Grande with the Italian version, with the K digital improvements by Steven Spielberg. E.T. for our younger viewers, for our families. That's the pre-festival. Then our cooperation with the OSI, the Italian Switzerland Orchestra, and the world premiere of Fiore Mio, a documentary film from Paolo Cognetti, the Italian bestseller writer, the Otto Montagna, on the Piazza as a world premiere. 4th of August, E.T., 6th, Fiore Mio, and then the first film to be shown with the Italian Swiss Orchestra. So that was the program in more detail. So what do you think? Everything okay? Should we discuss it? Well, don't ever say that it was boring. It was a list. We wanted to highlight what films were going to be shown. We can't tell you the stories yet, though. So now, I would like to move to my next guest, in quote marks, Raphael Brunschwig, Managing Director. Please come up to the stage. Thank you. Thank you all.
Ich weiß nicht, was Sie davon halten, aber ich fand das eine sehr kurzweilige Liste.
Gut, das Wort gefällt mir. Also wir haben jetzt das Festivalprogramm und die Filme vorgestellt. Das Festival ist aber auch ein Ort, an dem man kreiert, an dem man lernt, diskutiert. Es gibt eine ganz große Welt hinter der Leinwand und während dem Festival. Wollen wir über das ein bisschen sprechen?
Das ist tatsächlich so. Also das Festival ist ja sehr stark gewachsen in
The
den letzten
festival
Jahren.
has grown a lot in recent years, and you've seen that you have the more than 200 postcards at the center, which tell us a lot about people in the contemporary world. And we've developed different pillars of the festival in recent years in order to secure what Giona was saying, to make sure the festival is as relevant for as many people as possible. Cinema for All is the core of the festival. That's clear. We also have a very strong pillar for professionals with the film industry, over 1,500 accredited from the industry and professionals from the press. Locarno has become a very important summer gathering, maybe the most important meeting after Cannes. And we really emphasize quality over quantity with the think tank activity, looking at what the future holds. There's the AI subject that's going to be discussed with experts from the point of view of production, distribution, and of course, the stronger this activity is, then the easier it is to invite films to Locarno for Giona. Because we have all these participants. Then the new pillars, Locarno Factory, that's a creative hub. It's not just about film, it's above all about the base camp, the artist residency for 200 youth in Moralto. The idea is to establish links with young creators who don't just benefit from the program in a passive manner and discuss it, but they can actually shape things, be active in the festival. It's an important project, and together with the Locarno Edu, the last pillar, the activities for youth, families and children, it's not just screenings, but workshops, how a film comes about, how can you establish media literacy and convey this to young people. These activities have allowed us to regenerate our audience in recent years. Over a fifth of the people are new. They're not part of the regular crowds. It's very important in order to secure our future in such difficult times for cinema. So it's an important component of Locarno. Locarno is adapting, it's changing. You just can't be one thing, I think. It involves many different components. Well, it'd be lovely if you could just be one thing, but we can't afford to. And if you have a great festival in a small town, then you have to ensure that it's as attractive as possible for as many people as possible, and that you can get lost, as it were, completely immersed in this huge program. You can watch maybe 5 films a day. You can't see everything, but yes, it's really important. And then a very important subject, money. It all costs something. What's the situation with the funding model for Locarno? Well, it would just be a dream without money, that's obvious. The situation of funding for every cultural institution is not easy. But as our president, Maja Hoffmann, said, we're nevertheless in a strong position. We have a very balanced model between public funding, private funding, and what we generate ourselves. I'll start with the self-financing. We think that as of this year, we'll be as good as we were before COVID, at least. It's been a long process, but we've really worked hard on this. And of course, this is a share which can't grow that much in Locarno. the public funding, the support from the local authorities. It's not easy, as we know, and we're probably not going to get more from that. So where we have to grow is with our private partners. The president said this before, 30 ideas per second or per minute, I don't remember. So in quite concrete terms, we need to establish a very solid relationship with our partners, US Swisscom, Locarno Swatch, but also with many others. Thanks to our focus, we have a very strong relationship, but we need to acquire more partners in order to continue strengthening this model. That means we need more international partners with us in Locarno. I don't know if you want to say anything else, or shall we move to the Q&A? Okay. Then I will ask our president to come up to the stage once again, and we can begin. Thank you. Apologies. So if you could just slide up a bit. Thank you. Q&A. Fiorenza and Ollie have a microphone. If you have any questions, please just raise your hand and please just introduce yourselves. Any questions or no questions? We hadn't expected that in Zurich. Okay, there is someone. Just wait for the mic. I already have a microphone.
Simon Maja von Watson, eine Frage für Maja Hoffmann. Was mussten Sie tun, dass Annie Leibowitz das neue Plakat gestaltet hat?
What did you have to do to get Annie Leibowitz to produce the new poster? What did you have to do to get Annie Leibowitz to produce the new poster? Well, we thought it would be interesting to work with artists in the future and discuss posters with them. And this was the only place where I interfered, as it were. Otherwise, I always left it to the others. And Annie Leibowitz is a trendsetter. I wanted some more elegance in the poster. I think it's interesting. It's interesting with the leopard and the yellow color. They play a major role, but also interesting that you've got freedom, independent cinema, the landscape in Ticino, and the meaning of this leopard. What does it mean? I think it means freedom that I really wanted to support, and not the image of a racing car. And if I may, well, as a woman, I feel a bit under attack from a leopard or a panther which is just served up on a plate. I don't know if you get this, but I like this idea of the animal in this landscape and the contact with reality. The sky that Annie made, it moves. It shows us that the world is not always a nice place. It's a contemporary expression, a statement which I find very interesting, and I think we can support in Locarno. I called Annie, as you saw in the press, and I asked if she'd be interested in doing this, and she gave me her time. And I'd really like to thank her very much for that. Thank you. Anybody else with a question? It's important for the streaming. And also, maybe something about the members of the jury. The members of the jury for the international competition. Could you say something about that? We will make an announcement a bit later down the line. We didn't want to announce those members now. There are further announcements to come. Thank you. So you just have to be a bit patient. Thank you. Well, a lot of curiosity for the things that we didn't say, of course. Any more curious people? Another question? A question for Giona. Gary Krebs from Ticino Zeitung. Why no film from Israel? Was there none, or is it a political statement? I saw that there were two from Qatar, one co-produced by Qatar and one from Lebanon. In the main competition, was there a problem there? No, it wasn't an issue. We watched all of the films. We also received films from Israel, and we discussed all of them. But we just saw these films as works in themselves. The films from Qatar, they're co-productions. Qatar, for many years, has been at the forefront of renewal, production in the Near East, particularly with the Doha Film Institute, and they have helped many artists in many countries. They've helped them get going, so it's really not an issue. No one else? Can we now conclude this press conference? Do you all agree? Yes? Okay. We can wrap it up. Thank you very much for attending, all of you. I hope it was interesting. I hope that you've found out everything you wanted to. Thank you, Raphael Brunschwig, Giona Nazzaro, Maja Hoffmann. A safe trip home, and we'll see you in Locarno on the 7th of August. Thank you very much.